Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is the day we will be talking about the books that I read in July. And disclaimer, first and foremost, if you hear some sounds around me, I'm home with my family. Also, there's some renovations outside my house, so I can't do anything about that, so sorry for the noise you will be hearing in this video. And also, all of my family are sick. We've got some bug, we have sore throats and flu and all kinds of funny business, so I'm looking a little bit rough, but still I just didn't want to miss filming, and I'm feeling a little bit better at the moment, so I will be using this time for talking about the books that I read in month of July. So the first one is Flimmer by Anna Holt and Evan Holt, and this is a Norwegian book. I think it's possible that it is translated into English as well. Anna Holt is one of the most famous writers in Norway, I think, and it's one of her older thrillers. And in this one we have a heart stimulators that starting to stop working a few days after the operation that people get, and all those stimulators are from the same pharmacy, how you can call it, company, I think. And one of the doctors finds out that she notices that they are all from the same place, and she starts to investigate what's going on, and she has a friend that he's trying to help her, and we have the perspective from that pharmacy company's owners and so on. So it was more of a maybe some political side on this book, and it was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. I'll just check my trusty reading journal that I have, because I don't remember the ratings that I gave. No, I gave this one 4 stars actually. At the moment that I read it, it was interesting. I wanted to finish that book, and I was interested in the stuff that was happening in that company. But a few weeks after I finished that book, I even forgot that I read it. So now I'm confused if I liked it that much. Almost want to reread it maybe in the future and see if I still will give it 4 stars. I don't know, but at the moment I'm leaning maybe towards giving it 3 stars, just because I forgot this book so quickly. But yes, if you like thrillers, if you like more of a political, not the murders or something like that, and corporational stuff, so maybe you should give this one a try. Maybe you like it more than I did. Another one was Dagene som kommer by Melissa de Costa. I think she's a French writer, and I think that maybe it is also translated in English, Days That Are Coming. And in this one we have a woman, her name is Amanda, and she goes through an unimaginable loss in her life. One day her life is just turned upside down completely, and she now is in a deepest of and the darkest of place in her life, and she doesn't want to live in the same place she lived. She doesn't want to go to work, she don't want to interact with anyone, to the point that she don't want even to be outside in the daylight, because the daylight is triggering her very much. And so she finds a cottage in the little town in France, and that cottage is quite, it's not that it is abandoned, but the previous owner was a old lady, and her daughter, that old lady's daughter, she is now willing to just someone other live in that place for the moment and just take care of that house. So Amanda is willing to do that, and when she moves in, she finds a lot of old calendars with a lot of notes written by that previous owner. and slowly but surely she's starting to come back to life, and she is following those notes. And I thought that it will be a very sweet book, but actually it was very dark. I was considering even to DNFing maybe in the middle of the book, just because it was so dark. It triggered my depression as well, and the topics that they were talking about in this book were, yeah, just dark. We had a lot of talk about depression. I don't want to spoil you, so I'm just trying to, yeah, loss of the close one, talk about grief and stages of grief, and how grief affects you and people around you, and so on. So it wasn't, from the cover you can say that it is a very summary book, but it isn't. It's actually a very serious book. I couldn't say that it is a light romance. It definitely isn't. And actually I'm still glad that I finished this book. It is a short one, but it took me a while to finish it, just because of how dark it was. When she's starting to come back to life, the book is starting to get a little bit lighter towards the end. It's quite great. And the only thing there's a few things that I didn't like about this book. There was a lot of talk about gardening. I'm not into gardening. I appreciate beautiful things, I appreciate flowers and so on, but I'm not into gardening. So there was a lot of talk about that. And another thing that I didn't like was that suddenly we had a lot of talking about faith and some different religions, and it was to the point where the author almost preached about some of the religions and almost wanted us to convert to those religions. So it was just unnecessary in my opinion. So I think in the end I gave this one, yes, in the end I gave this one 3 stars. My reviews today will be all over the place. I'm still sick, so bear with me. Then I decided to read few children books, and one of them is Twins by Eric Kastner. I have a Lithuanian edition, and it is a classic, not Lithuanian, come on. It is I think it is German classic about 2 sisters that were separated at their birth. They didn't know about each other. One lived with her mother in Austria, no, with mother in Germany, and another with her father in Austria. And the one who lived in Austria was a very outgoing, very active girl, and her sister who lived with her mother in Germany is very serious. She acts like she is almost a adult. She's taking care of her mother, she's preparing dinners and so on. And so it happens that they meet each other in the summer camp for girls, and they decide to swap places because they want to know both of their parents. And we have some adventures, and yeah, it was a very cute, very quick book. I think I read this one in one sitting, and it is a story about siblings love, about parents and the relationships between parents and children, and it was very cute story, so I gave this one 4 stars. Then I decided to read a lot of Iš Pramuštgalių gatvės. I have a Lithuanian edition. It is by Astrid Lindgren, and how it is in English, I think it is Lotta from something street. I don't remember the title in English, but it's definitely has been translated into English. And in this one we have Lotta. She is the youngest in the family, and she is the most active girl from them all. And yeah, it is also one of the classics, and it's very cute, very short as well story. There was a lot of illustrations in this book, and it didn't take me a lot of time to read it. I think I read it also in one sitting. So we have here a perspective of a youngest child in the family and how it is to be the youngest one and to grow up in the family where everyone around you is a lot of older. And that was quite interesting to see, and I liked it. I think that Lotta was a little bit too spoiled by her parents, but it's just my opinion. However, I still enjoyed reading it and I gave it 4 stars as well. Then we have another one by Astrid Lindgren. This one is also in Lithuanian edition, Britta Marie Šildi, and I don't know if this one is translated to English, but if it is, it would sound something like Britta Marie opens her heart. And in this one we have Britta Marie, who is writing letters to her friend, and in those letters she is just opening her heart. She talks about boys, she talks about her as well relationship with her brothers and her parents, and also all sorts of things that a teenager goes through in her young life. And of course there's talk about first love, boys, and school. And this book is all created by from the letters she's writing to her friend. So it also was a short read. I think I read it in a few sittings, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I was interested to see how Britta Marie is changing how her character is developing in all these letters, and yeah, I really liked it. I gave it also 4 stars. Then we have another one by French author Valérie Perrin, the Ditre. I have a Norwegian edition. I think it is also translated in English. I think it's called The Three. And in this book we have 3 kids, Adrian, Etienne, and Nina, and in 1986 they went to the same school and they were inseparable. They were the bestest of friends, and where one went, the other 2 went as well. And now we have 2017, and at the moment they are not talking to each other. They all went their separate ways, and we are trying to see what happened, why they ended up living the separate lives, why in their younger years they were inseparable, and what happened that everything turned out the way it is. And there was some plot twists that I didn't see coming, but it was very interesting to see. I was intrigued and wanted to know what happened, why they didn't talk until the few last pages of the book, what happened. And there's a lot of mysteries and almost thrillery stuff happening in this book, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's more about characters. It is a character-based story, so if you don't like books like that it seems for you a little bit boring. So I think it will be boring for you because seems like not much is happening. But it still was interesting to read for me because, like I said, I'm the one who likes books that are based on characters and their development and the growth of the characters. So that was the perfect example of that. And in the end I think I gave this one as well 4 stars. Let me check. Yes, that one I gave as well 4 stars. Then I decided to read this one. It is also by Norwegian author Vigdis Hjorth, and it is Jan Takkelsen. And in this one we have a young girl. She is, I think, around 16 years old, and she has a very protective mother. And this is a very short story about maybe some weeks or some months of her life, and in all this book she is complaining. It was just a long complaining about how her mother is very protective, how she doesn't want her to go to the parties and to drink, and how her mother is afraid that she might be assaulted and something like that, and it was just a long complaining, and she was very mad at her mother when when her mother discovered that our main character broke some rules. Her mother was very mad, and she didn't even want to talk to her daughter at that point. And then her daughter was, why my mother is acting like that? Come on, girl, you broke all the rules. What do you expect? And I'm just so sick of reading books where the parents are the bad ones, and how everything that happens in teenagers' life is parents' fault. No matter that teenagers almost all the time are at fault themselves, but no, they won't see that. And yeah, I was just actually almost disgusted reading this book. I was just, our main character was a brat and I didn't like her at all. So in the end I gave it 2 stars, generous 2 stars, and I don't understand why this book is so loved here in Norway. I just can't understand it at all. But maybe I just don't see the deeper meaning of this book. I don't know, maybe it's my fault. It's definitely my fault. And then I decided to read this one. It is by Simona Arnstedt, Allt eller ingenting, Everything or Nothing. And in this, by the cover, I thought that it would be a thriller, because I don't know why. I haven't read the synopsis before I started reading this book. So I was pleasantly surprised when I discovered that it is actually a romance, and it is a very light romance, and it is a very summery book, and it reminds me maybe of Tessa Bailey writing a little bit, I think. There's nothing very serious about this book. The topic that it was trying to talk about was a little bit more serious, but the way it was written about, it wasn't. In this one, what this book is about, firstly, we have Lexia, and she's working in the advertisement agency, and she is described as a girl on the heavier side. She has curves, she looks nothing alike like a model. She tells this, at least in every single page, a few times, that she doesn't like how she looks, and that she thinks that she's too fat, and everyone who is working with her bullies her and makes fun of her weight, and so on and so on. She doesn't have a lot of friends, she has few, but she is very self-conscious, and like I said, she doesn't like how she's looking, but she's trying her best to make advertisements a little bit more diverse. She wants models to be in all different sizes and different skin colors, and she's doing her best. And one day, after a very long day at work and tough day at work, she goes to the bar, and there she meets a guy. His name is, what is his name? Oh, where is it? Oh my god, I don't remember the Lexia, and his name is Adam. So she meets Adam, and she thinks that he's just a typical guy, and she opens her heart. Of course, she drinks a little bit too much, and she opens her heart. She talks about her deepest, she opens and gives him her deepest thoughts. And the next day she meets him at work, and it happens so that he will be her new boss. And they, of course, they have a connection. They try their best to not be involved in any relationships, but you can guess where this will end. And yeah, it was very interesting book. I was intrigued, I was smiling at some places, I was cringing at some places, but it's very nice summary book, and I'm very happy that I picked this one in the month of July. It was perfect to read this book. in a summery weather. So I gave this one 4 stars, and I think that this one was my favorite in July. And the last book that I read was also a children's book. We have Hilda Humic och Folk som försvann by Irmelin Peterstad Gustafsson, and it is Hilda Humic and people that disappeared. And we have Hilda Humic, and she is waiting for her summer vacation with her mother, and she is counting the days. But when the summer vacation is coming, her mother decides that now she will be moving to live with her boyfriend, her new fiance, and of course she is taking Hilda with her, and they're moving to the completely different city. It's a very small town, very mysterious one. One family is ruling that city. They decide the rules of the city, and everyone is too afraid to say something. So it's almost as if there's a mafia in that town, and some strange things starts happening. People starts to disappear in that town, and no one is trying to find out what is happening. But our main character Hilda, she is very curious girl. She wants to understand what is happening. She sees strange things happening, and she notices some strange things in her house. Her future stepfather is very suspicious, and so she finds a few friends, and with those friends she is going on to some of the adventures. And it was very interesting book, and somehow it is reminded me a little bit of Coraline, Tim Burton movie. Our main characters have some similar character traits as Coraline, so it was very interesting to read. And it was that interesting that I already bought the second book in the series to read. So maybe I will read that book in autumn, because it's a little bit, feels like it is more of a autumny book. But nonetheless, I'm happy that I finished this one this month, and in the end I gave it also 4 stars. So this month, unfortunately, I didn't find my new favorite. I didn't read the book that I could rate 5 stars, but nonetheless there was a lot of 4-star reads, and I'm happy about that. And I think it was, in the end, it was quite good reading month, although I went into a huge reading slump in the last week of July. I haven't read a single page, but I still read 9 books, so that's great. When you have a reading slump, to read 9 books is, I think, perfect. And that will be it, I think. And thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. Leave a comment if you like, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you like what you see, because I talk about books all the time. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.